Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's very, very special Sunday Soul podcast. I'm so pleased to be here tonight. Happy Valentine's Day to everyone. Good evening, Sharon. Good evening, Wiggy. Good evening, Marie. And good evening to Nicole Reloaded. Thank you so much for being here, Sister Nicole. I really do appreciate it a ton. So tonight, I hope everyone's Valentine's Day was really awesome. Got a chance to spend mine with my granddaughters and my future daughter-in-law, and we just had a fabulous evening. We went and celebrated Valentine's Day last night, and also my retirement from corporate America, which we'll talk about that a little bit deeper. But I wanted to bring this very special guest to everyone tonight, and I'm just letting some people file in and letting the notification go out that we're live. Okay, so let your folks know, even those folks that maybe are not like, especially those folks that are like super spiritual or whatever, but let people know, anybody that's like wanting to fall in love or is in love, this conversation is for singles as well as for those that aren't in a relationship and part of a duo, okay? Or however many happen to be in your relationship. But this is for all. And it's very important for us. We talk about self-love on this channel a lot, and we talk about self-affirmation and the importance of self-esteem and just knowing who you are and living that out. And so what better subject to talk about tonight than be your own bae. So I am about to bring to the table, up to the podcast, a gentleman that I met like a couple years back in. I've got a new camera, guys, so the camera likes to shut off every now and again, but we'll get through this whole podcast, trust me. We've got Dr. Dani Lee Harris. Let's welcome him. Hello, Dr. Dani. How are you, sir?
I am good. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. We sure can. Thank you so much. So Dr. Dani and I met quite, I don't know, just by happenstance, right? At a outdoor barbecue in Atlanta about 2 years ago. And we connected on Instagram and Facebook after that, and just have kind of, been kind of cursory here or there, you know what I'm saying? But we've had an opportunity to really connect at a deeper level. And I felt very, very strongly that Dr. Dani is someone that we needed to hear from here on this platform. He is the Metamorphosis Doctor. And so I'm going to give Dr. Dani a moment to, tell us about himself. And just give us a little bit about who is Dr. Dani.
Oh, in a nutshell, I am a spiritual being having this temporary human experience with all you guys. As far as physically, I am living in Georgia now, but I come by way of New York City, born and raised. And I like to say I'm the boroughs baby because I've lived in every single borough in New York City for significant times, and moved down here. I was in law enforcement in New York, moved down here, became a police officer in Atlanta and for Atlanta. And then I retired early because I started to go on this path of what I am here for. Why did I travel into this body? Why am I here? And I recognized that teaching and motivating was my gift and also my passion. So I started teaching. I became finished my doctoral degree and then became a professor at several colleges here in the ATL area. And then from there, retired from both early and started becoming this transformational coach, which is what I absolutely love to do, which is serve other people.
That is amazing. That is amazing. Now, you're skipping over a whole lot, right? Here we get deep here. Okay, we all grown here. Okay, so there's a lot that went into that transformation and on that journey, and there's a lot that we can unpack about that journey. But I want to also talk about this helping people, and even your time in law enforcement. Really, most I would hope, I believe most folks that get into law enforcement really get into it because that is service to others, much like
Absolutely.
why people get into the military, right? That
Yeah.
is the ultimate service to God, man, and country.
Mhm.
And that has taken you on this journey to where you are now as the Metamorphosis Doctor. So we were talking
Mhm.
about you're also an author. You want to talk about that too? You're an author as
Yes.
well. You would
Yes, I
talk a
am
little
an
bit about
author.
that.
Sure. Well, while being a police officer, I think 2015 was a time when everybody wanted to know why police do what they do in the manner in which they do. So I came out with a book that became a bestseller on Amazon called Knowledge is Power, What Everyone Should Know About the Police. And I retitled it last year. So it's a new title, Don't Kill Us, Don't Judge Us. It's the same content on the inside of the book, but I changed the cover and just rebranded it. And it's basically a book, not just me. I had a lot of input from other officers around the country, because my point in the book was to show how officers is trained in America and why we do the things that we do. In a lot of people take things personal when it comes to police officers, but a lot of it is really just training. And it's absolutely repetition and muscle memory. So not saying that I agree with everything that has happened in the news, which is the reason why I wrote the book. But I came out with that. But when I started on the life coaching track, I actually came out with book number 1 of an 8-book series called From Cradle to Grave, Emotional Maturity. And that book is a very revealing book of how I learned how to grow up emotionally. My life story will tell you that I didn't have a chance. I didn't have a childhood. I didn't really have, and I became an adult at the age of 17, raising my mother's 3 youngest siblings after she passed on at the age of 40. So I grew up quick, and because I'm a product of the foster care system of New York City, I never really had a childhood. So I never really emotionally grew up. And it wasn't until life hit me on top of my head that I recognized I needed to grow up and mature. And I used my life experiences to show me and figure out how to use what we go through to get through and to become the greatest authentic version of ourselves.
Wow.
Mhm.
And that's what's led you to this
Mhm.
very, to me, revolutionary concept of this 4 core,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Metamorphosis change, this 4 core method of
Right.
getting to emotional maturity, and really what we're talking about today, which is being your own bae, like
That's right.
really falling in love with yourself and
Oh, yeah.
being a complete being, as complete as you can, because we're always right, we're always working on things, but at least
Mhm.
getting the major stuff up. So let's talk about that 4 core strategy. Could you talk to us a little bit about that, and how
Absolutely.
you help people get to this level of emotional maturity and self-love?
Absolutely. It's my newest addition to my life coaching. It is to me, my baby, my absolute baby. It's called the 4 core being, or the 4 core of you. And that is how to marry the 4 core of your being: emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual. The problem with our journey in life is that sometimes we absolutely don't understand how important it is to marry the 4 core of us in order for us to live authentically happy and at peace. So let me use an example. Sometimes we'll go ahead and chase, say, money, right? Now, money is not an end. It is a byproduct to an end. People are chasing something else: the freedom to buy, the freedom to purchase anything they want, the freedom to live on their own terms, the freedom to not have a boss or be their own boss. There's reasons why people absolutely want money, right? So when you get that, just say you haven't married the 4 core and you chase money and you get money and you become this very, rich person in paper, that is, and yet you're so broken on the inside, you don't even know how to enjoy it. All you can do is have the ability to buy things, but you can't buy peace. You can't buy self-love. You can't buy, understanding why you're here. You cannot buy the most important things in your life. And it doesn't necessarily mirror everybody else's most important, but discovering what the most important things are in your life. So when you marry the 4 core, all 4 of those, it doesn't make any sense to have all the money in the world and your health is shot to hell, and you're going to face some, you don't know how to unrelease or release stress. And then you wind up becoming very sickly. So you have all the money in the world, but look at how Steve Jobs died, not having all the money, but not having the health. You need to marry the four core and understand that you absolutely control what happens with yourself mentally, spiritually, physically, and emotionally. So when you learn how to marry those four core, that is like I said, my top tier. I shot that program right to the top of my tier as it relates to it, because it is life changing. Once you go through this 12-week program, you will never be the same. People won't recognize you. And I have been using bits and pieces of it in my coaching all together. And I said, this needs to be a program by itself. And that's how I came up with the concept of marry the four core.
Yeah. And you're into, you're very much into numerology. So I know that this won't escape you. So the importance of the number 4, and 4 being a life path number, and 4 being the number of, in the tarot, it's always, it's the marriage, the 4 of Wands, the marriage number, and the 4 of Swords is peace. Absolutely. And so it always gives you this sense of wholeness, right? Absolutely. And what I find also interesting is it takes into account the Trinity or the triad being with this 4th dimensional kind of like transcending time. Like it's not really that important, right? Like it's just a sense of completion.
That's right.
But in this 4 core being concept, we were speaking about epiphanies and how important epiphanies are. Do you want to explain how that relates to this?
That's another program that I created, and I was doing another project, and one of the project examples was to use epiphany themes or epiphany moments in your life. And I came up with the concept of, if we use epiphany moments in our life completely from birth till now, to whatever age you are absolutely uncovering themes that are specific to your life. Now you take these themes and guess what you find? All of the places in which you're undeveloped in, that you can develop and then become a better version, authentic version, and uncover the core values in your life and deal, because it's not an easy program, because you have to be honest with yourself. You have to be willing to do the work, and you have to, most importantly, understand how important it is to undump all those things that has been dumped into you that no longer serve you. There's a lot of traditions and values that I don't hold now that I held as a child, because my parents gave me certain, values and cores. But as I developed and understand authentically who I am, they're not my same. They're not the same values. You're supposed to get to a point in life where you undump all that doesn't belong to you. Not saying that everything is going to go, but most of what you know to be your truth is really not your truth. And that's the reason why you can't find happiness, because you're living a lie and you don't even know it. You're being driven by the subliminal messages that have been drilled into you.
Exactly. We talk about that a lot on this channel, about how there's so much between our parents and grandparents and aunties and the church and school and yes, we say the church. Yeah, okay, the church. Religion just in general. School, social mores, television telling us what to view, right?
Telling lies visually. That's what television is.
Oh, I like that one. Did y'all catch that? Telling lies visually. Okay, we like that. We like that here. That one we'll preach. Between that and entertainment, which entertainment really, when you break it down, is to enter the containment of your brain.
Absolutely.
So you actually enter into this container of thought. So we're taught how to think that. So all of these things are rumbling around within us, but they're not ours.
Nope.
They reside in this 3rd dimensional mind and not in our higher dimensional selves.
That's right. I mean, just imagine your life being that of a puppet.
Ooh.
You are walking around in life you have the subliminal messages that have been dumped into you on autopilot. What I teach people is 80% of what you thought today is the same thing you thought yesterday. That means your brain is on autopilot. We do these routines, and there's nothing wrong with routines. I'm not saying there's something wrong, but you have to understand why you do the routines that you do. Everybody woke up today and was the first thing on people's mind. Happy Valentine's Day. Why? It was taught to you. It was something handed to you. I personally do not celebrate Valentine's Day as it relates. I'm married, and my wife is the same way, because to me, the concept of the reason why we have Valentine's Day should be a concept that is 365 days every day. I am
Right.
constantly, whether there's conflict or not, constantly showing love to that of my wife and my children. So
Right.
there's no such thing as one day for me. It's an
Right.
everyday thing. Me
Right.
being my authentic version of self brings out the love, which is the reason why this topic is so awesome for for you to bring up. Be your own babe. Marrying the four core and understanding who you authentically are, you will recognize that the love you came in this body already being, and I don't mean what you feel, not the emotional side. You came as love. So
Mm-hmm.
if you recognize to tap into that love and love yourself
Mm-hmm.
agapely, okay,
Mm-hmm.
unconditionally.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't mean that you have to be happy with every part of yourself. It just means that you are accepting of oneself and you recognize the power to change anything that you do not like or that does not rest well with you. But
Mm-hmm.
when you love yourself, it is the most amazing thing that you could ever do. And I came to this place a few years ago
Mm-hmm.
where I recognized I was not only being driven by autopilot, but I had poured so much love into other people that
Yeah.
when my ex-wife left me, one day just didn't come back home. My daughter was 4 months old. My stepson was there. And I was just like, but I don't understand. I was good to her. I was this. I
Wow.
was devastated. And when I tell you it was that was the epiphany moment that completely changed the course of my life because I needed to go through that because it broke me on the inside in such a way that it forced me to look in the mirror that I had been avoiding. Once I looked in that mirror and recognized that Dani didn't love Dani the way Dani needed to love Dani,
Wow.
I absolutely, the light bulb went off. And I remember coming home
Wow.
and I prayed that day. I was coming home and we're grown, so I can say it.
Yes.
But I was absolutely about to end my life earlier in the morning that day. I had just came from my EA. EA is Emotions Anonymous. It's almost like an AA or an NA, but it's for emotions. So I had went to an EA thing, and I was so depressed that day. And I remember coming out of the meeting, and I'm sitting in my car, and as a law enforcement officer, I do carry concealed and unconcealed. So I had my weapon in the car, and I remember grabbing it, and I was absolutely about to end my life. I was on Facebook Live that day, and I was about to end my life on Facebook Live. That's how deep and that's how hurt and how much pain I was in that moment. There was a picture of my daughter on my dash, and that saved my life really because I thought about her and I thought about no matter what I'm going through right now, I want to be here for her. I don't want to leave her. And she's special needs. Well, she's not really special needs. She's special needs on paper. She has Down syndrome, which we call up syndrome. But I just knew she would have challenges in life, and I wanted to be there to help her face those challenges. So I said, you know what, I got to go home and get her. And I remember I had picked her up. She was being watched by a friend of mine. So I went and picked her up, and I remember holding her and saying, I love you. Daddy's always going to be here for you. And I went home, laid her down, and I fell on my face and said, God, I don't care what it's going to take. This brokenness, just get me out of this pain. I'm willing to see myself. I'm willing to not be bitter. I'm just willing to love. That's all I said. And from that point on, my life completely changed because it was missing was me. I was missing in all of the equation. I can throw love and spend money on someone else, but when you don't authentically love yourself,
Yes.
then you're missing the biggest piece of your human existence in this body. You are supposed to understand that love comes from within, comes without. It's supposed to be an overflow. When you love from around you or outside of you, you're going to get depleted. You're never filling your own tank. So I started dating myself. I started taking myself out. I started loving on myself. I started mindfulness. And mindfulness is very, very important when it comes to love, meaning I started to take the time to love on my body and myself, which means when I got in the shower, it wasn't to go ahead and get in the shower and get back out. I took my time. I made sure I hit every part of my body. When I brushed my teeth, I made sure that I would spend time on each tooth. I did things like that in mindful moments to love and start loving myself and grooming myself and just really, really accepting me. And that was it was a snowball effect after that. I met my soulmate, you know what I mean? And wanted to get a chance to marry my soulmate.
Yes.
Amazing woman ever. And
Yes.
I would have missed her had I not found me. So that's why loving yourself is it. When we look for what we want without giving it to ourselves first, we will always misstep and we'll always wind up with less than what we deserve. That's
Oh
it.
my goodness. Okay, you have dropped so much. Okay, y'all, see, y'all thought I was the only one that was going to preach to y'all on a Sunday night, but you okay, so we have to go back and we got to unpack some of this here. So let's talk about this, the point of which you're in a toxic relationship because you didn't love yourself enough to even realize that you're in this toxic relationship. So I say I have a concept that I talk about here, and we were talking about this earlier, and so I want you to expound on it from your perspective because it's an amazing one. The concept of that it's not opposites that attract, but you literally attract everything into your world because you're giving off the energy. Okay. You're giving off that energy and you're sending this beacon out saying, I'm broken in this area.
Absolutely.
And I haven't admitted it to myself
right.
or to anyone else, but I am looking for something to fill this void. And typically what happens is there's a lot more pain. Okay. We don't actually get somebody that's actually going to be a soothing salve because we don't even love ourselves enough to feel like we deserve that. So talk about how we're here on this earth and talk about this concept of us attracting like and not necessarily opposite.
No, we attract all that is within us is what we're attracting without us, outside of us. So whoever you are on the inside, and that's hard for people to admit. It took me looking in the mirror to say, Dani, this is what you attracted. And then when I looked at my path, literally my relationship path, I realized it was the same type of woman, just in different bodies. Ooh, so it couldn't have been all of them.
Whoa, don't go past that. Say that. Pause, rewind. Say that one again. What was that?
When I went and inventoried my existence in relationships on this earth, when I went and looked at the past, and I looked at the back, look back and absolutely realized that I was attracting the same type of woman over and over again, just in different bodies. And that's what happens when you don't catch the lesson. Let me tell you something about God in the universe. When you don't catch the lesson, you're going to keep going through a similar situation. So if you are constantly going through the same situation, it's not that God don't love you. It's not that the universe hates you. It's not that people don't like you. It's just you just not catching the lesson. And the lesson's usually going to be, not usually, the lesson's always going to be pointing back to you. Yes. Something in you is broken. Like I said, I was a foster care kid. I grew up with this abandonment issue. I grew up with low self-esteem, though I didn't think so. I didn't want to believe that. So I'm like, I ain't got low self-esteem. But for me to be in a narcissistic relationship for 7 years and have no idea the dirt and stuff that was going on behind my back, and I'm living in the same house, absolutely told me and taught me just how blind I really was. Yes. And I couldn't sit and blame this woman. It wasn't her fault. I was sitting on that vibrational frequency. It's like listening to a radio station. If I'm listening to, I like, what don't I like? I don't like rock and roll. All right. Some of it I like, but for the most part, you're not going to go into my car and find any station that's rock and roll. Right. Okay. But if I'm sitting there listening to rock and roll, getting upset that I'm listening to rock and roll when I know I want to listen to R&B, but I don't change the channel, I can't get mad at nobody else but myself. So when you're sitting on the wrong vibrational frequency, you're attracting who you are on the inside. That's it. Exactly. That's the truth. That's the most freeing thing I had to learn. Then once I learned that, I recognized again how to love yourself and how I had to make myself, I had jumped from relationship to relationship to relationship all my life, looking to fulfill that feeling of abandonment. I had to face all of that. Once I faced all of that, Dani's not afraid to be alone. Matter of fact, I'm married now. My wife does not live anywhere near me right this moment, right? We live in 2 different states, and we're good with that for now. We're going to close the gap real soon, but it's been great because I'm okay with being with Dani and raising little Dani, my daughter. You know what I'm saying? I'm okay with being, here because I'm comfortable, and it's something I have never been in my life. So once you fall in love with yourself, you start to attract that which you desire, sincerely desire, not that which you are. And if you are attracting that which you are, and you don't like it, that means you need to take some time out to look and check you.
You know what? Before I ever got into this whole spiritual thing, and when I was single and looking for somebody, and then
Mhm.
ended up finding my own narcissist. But my people done heard that story before. We ain't got to go over that. I used to say, I used to say to my girlfriends all the time, because we'd say, "Oh, it seems like we're attracting,
Mhm.
these men, and they really weren't what we wanted."
Mhm.
And I used to always say, "Well, ladies, we have to change our polarity on our magnets."
Oh
And
yeah,
I
that's
didn't know
good.
anything about anything, but I knew instinctively
Yep,
that somehow we must be sending out the radar
absolutely
and there was nothing wrong with, those men. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them.
correct
It just, they weren't proper partners for
for
us.
you. Absolutely,
Exactly.
absolutely,
So there's nothing wrong with that. They're a proper partner for someone else. That's totally cool.
absolutely,
But if you
absolutely.
want to change what you are attracting in, you have to change the polarity of your magnet,
Right,
because otherwise what you're doing is the very definition of insanity. The same thing over and
absolutely.
over again and expecting a different result.
It's the same thing that I had to go through, especially dealing with a narcissist, right?
Mm,
One of the traits of a narcissist is a liar. And I personally, meaning the entity of Dani, I hate liars. I don't lie because I really can't remember a lie. I promise you I can't. So I don't lie. It's just the truth comes out naturally. So, I hate liars. And I couldn't understand why I kept attracting liars.
mhm,
And the whole time I was missing the biggest point
mhm.
because Dani was lying to Dani about who Dani was.
Mm. Tell them somebody.
So it had nothing to do with me lying to someone else. It had
Mm-mm.
everything to do with me lying to myself on the inside. And because
Yeah.
of that, now that I've stopped lying to myself on the inside,
Yes.
I have, a partner, a wife that absolutely mimics my honesty, my integrity.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She mimics my love.
Yeah.
She mimics me. She is my soulmate, and I never used that word before in my life, but she is truly my
Mm.
soulmate. She is the feminine energy of me in every sense of the word. She is definitely my biggest supporter and pusher. And again, it doesn't mean it's perfect. It doesn't, because we're still two imperfect people
Right.
building and holding one another accountable. But you got
Yeah.
to also understand why when you love yourself, you recognize that it's not your job to make somebody else your world. That's not how love works. When you
Mm-mm.
love yourself authentically, you recognize that they are supposed to come to the table bringing some things that's going to be absolutely beneficial to your life, and you
Yep.
are supposed to be doing the same. But your absolute number one job of a person that's in your life, you are supposed to bring out the best version of that person. Sometimes we get into these relationships and these people bring out the absolute worst person underneath all of this that they can possibly bring out. But when you start to love yourself and understand how to love yourself correctly, you'll recognize my job is to grab this person and absolutely help them to see. And that doesn't mean change them, because your job is not to change them either. It's just basically to love yourself and love them enough where they're willing to continuously grow on their path of personal enlightenment and personal growth. Once you've done that, you are becoming a better version of yourself. They are becoming a better version of yourselves, and your partners in that thing of accountability. And that's what love is truly about. And anything that has to do with a ship, so relationship in any sense, friendship, co-workership, whatever ship. A ship is to carry something, right? You want to learn how to carry the greatest qualities to other people. That's what a relationship is for, bringing out the best in that person, not changing them, not telling them who they should be, how they should talk, how they should dress, how they should walk. No, you love yourself enough to be able to be in control of the things that you are in control of naturally, which is yourself. You're not in control of someone else. I don't care what kind of, my wife has my last name. I don't own her. She is a part of me, which means that, if I love and respect myself, I will love and respect her wishes as well. And I think we lost our host for a second. Well, I'm going to let her come back in because it looks like we're still on. So I'm going to let her come back in, and I'll go ahead and keep talking for a little bit until she jumps back on. All right. So yes, when we love ourselves. So back to our topic for tonight. Be your own babe. There's people today that was depressed because they didn't have a Valentine. There's people that didn't get flowers and candy and get a card or whatever, and they felt alone or whatever. But let me tell you something. You're never ever alone, as long as you learn how to love yourself. And if that means you got to go ahead and put on your best dress, your Sunday best, and go and trickle into of course, COVID-free environment, and treat yourself to dinner, go to a cigar bar, go have a drink, or even in your house, cook yourself your favorite meal and enjoy yourself doing your favorite pastime, whether it's reading a book or listening to music or whatever it is, and loving on yourself. When you start to do that, you're going to change the environment around you and the aura around you. Everything's energy. And that means that you as a person have energy that comes off of you. That energy, like Lisa said earlier, it's actually bringing whatever it is that's inside of you, reflecting out of you, is bringing that towards you and closer to you. So you want to go ahead and make sure that you keep your energy clean. And that means that you have to keep your intentions pure. And that's a whole nother story.
Yes.
I'm glad you're back.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Little technical difficulties during Mercury retrograde, nothing new. We're going to take a really quick break. I have a very short little commercial. As most of you know, we're doing our Be the Light, virtual retreat this weekend. So I want to, about 30 seconds, you guys don't go anywhere. We're going to give Dr. Dani an opportunity to get a little water. And then when we come back, I want to expound on that, why it's so important, or what does life look like on the other side of this once we become our own bae. And I actually want to talk to you a little bit, before we round this out, a little about numerology, because, this is a spiritual channel and we love to talk about all modalities of connecting with spirit. So everybody hang tight for this real quick, and we shall be right back. Register today for the Be the Light virtual retreat, February 19th through 21st, 2021. This is a powerful spiritual activation weekend, complete with Reiki attunement, spiritual warfare training, how to access more of your gifts and abilities, and much, much more. Go to www.heartofinspiration.net today to register. That's www.heartofinspiration.net. See you there. And we are back. See, guys, I told you it was just a couple seconds. So I want to chat a little bit about what this looks like on the other side. Once you have become your own bae, you know what? I might end up just with my avatar showing in a second. Once you talk about becoming your own bae, once you've achieved this, or as you're achieving it, what does that begin to look like?
Oh, it's freedom. People are out here. We're on this path looking for freedom. You start to love yourself, and also learn how to listen to that intuition, gut, spirit, whatever you call it. When you learn how to go by that, it is your internal GPS system for your life and your path in this body. If you learn how to listen to it, it is like you are this greatest psychic of your world. And it is so true. And it's so powerful. And I expressed to you how I died in 97 and how I came back. And I was so scared of really tapping into the gifts that I came back from the other side with. Wow. And that is just, because I was afraid of what other people would think, of me. Now I embrace that gift, because God sent me to the other side to come back with gifts to give people that's still living. Yeah. So I died and came back for a reason. And it came back with so much wisdom, not wisdom from Dani, but wisdom from the spirit. I learned how to listen to my inner spirit, and dying is what I wish everybody could do. Just die and come back. You will change the way that you live every day. I was shot in the face, and it was the most beautiful experience ever. Not the actual shooting part, but the traveling outside this body in the NDE, or they call it near-death experience, which I don't understand, because you're died. So how is it near death? You're dead. So, but traveling outside of this body and going to the other side, or I never made it to the actual other side. I actually wound up in the tunnel. And I remember being in this gray tunnel, and then years later found out why the tunnel is gray. But I was in this gray tunnel, and still pictures of my life was flashing on the sides of me, but I had peripheral vision out of this world. I know I didn't have a mouth, and everything was telepathy. I knew my mother, who had died in 1990, and this happened in 97. My mother was standing at the end. It was a big, bright white light. I kid you not. And it was on the end of the tunnel. And I'm moving with no legs, but I'm moving fast going down this tunnel. And I recognized that I'm going to meet my mother who's going to bring me to the other side, right? So I knew she was on the other side because it was telepathy. I just knew. It was a sense of knowing. And I saw these pictures of me just going blah, 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 all of points of my life. And it was just going really, real fast. And I'm going faster than sound. I'm just flying through this tunnel. And I remember the senses of just not being able to speak, but just being able to think everything. And I remember specifically saying, God, I don't want to see mommy right now. And I immediately came back in my body inside the hallway. The guy's still trying to shoot me some more. You know, it's amazing. But when I went through that experience, the feeling of love, that's how I know we're love. The feeling of love was not a feeling that you have an emotion. It wasn't an emotional love. It was me. I was love. And it was so tranquil and so peaceful. And so I totally understand when people make it to the NDE part and don't come back. Because it's like a lightness, that it's a heaviness that comes with this human body. And when you release it, or when your spirit is released from it, you are so light and you don't have any worries. There's no worries. It's just love, all love. And I can't describe it enough. And then I started to read books and started watching programs and started to see that, oh, I'm not crazy. Everybody goes through it. You know what I'm saying? It's the most beautiful experience that anybody could ever go through. So when people pass, I actually smile. And it's not because I'm happy that they're gone or anything like that. It's that I know unequivocally what they just went through. It's the most beautiful experience ever. It's the most peaceful thing. And the fact that energy doesn't die, it can't be created or destroyed. They're not gone. They're just in another dimension, you know, that they can absolutely, you know, tap into you if you will let them, you know, if you want them to. They're not intrusive. Spirits are not intrusive. They're not going to come and scare you and boogeyman you, you know. They if you want, I tell my friends who lost close members, yo, reach out to them and tell them, show you a sign. That's it. But that also led me to numerology. And the path of numerology was understanding how numbers is connected to my life. Your birthday, your name, your birth name, and your birthday is connected to you. It actually is a guideline, just like the GPS that's inside of you, of your challenges, your cosmic debt to society, or whatever. It's so many things that come with a numerology report. And it absolutely is like a telltale sign of what you're supposed to be doing. And when I have raving reviews on my numerology reports, because it's not fluff. It's you. You give me your name. You give me your I promise you give me your name. You're gonna be like, how did you know? It's not me. The spirit realm has its own program. You know, everything is numbers. And numbers, honestly, is the language of the universe. It's the language of God. We speak in English. God speaks in numbers and energy. And so when you learn that, you're absolutely learning how to speak to God, how to speak to the spirit realm through numbers. Numbers is if you see repetitive numbers for a reason, you need to find out why. That's your guides. That's your spirit trying to reach out to you to tell you something.
Exactly.
You know,
and
use your life path.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like the combination lock.
Absolutely. Right? Knowing what your life path is one of the most incredible things. And when I found out what my life path was, I was blown away. You know, because there's 3 numbers in numerology that is never broken down: 11, 22, and 33. And my life path is 33. It's a very powerful number. And it just explained my whole life. It really did. And I was like, oh, okay. So it could be scary, but you know, at the same time, it's giving you information that you can use and utilize in your life to change your life. You don't like what's going on in your life, you can change it. You have the power. You are absolutely the captain of your ship. What you determine will happen is going to happen. Your limiting beliefs is stopping you from achieving everything that you think you can achieve. That's it. That's all.
So whoever, now we ain't talked about all that. So I want all y'all to know, they're like, he sounds just like Dr. Lisa. That's exactly right.
Wow.
We speak in truth.
Absolutely.
We say that all the time.
Absolutely.
Now, I want to touch on one more thing. And then if you want to, there's a couple of questions in the chat I think that I would like for you to take that I've seen. So this whole concept of we're love, right? Something just came to me while you were saying this, because that is true, because we're from divine, we're from the source, we're from source. We're all part of source. We are all part of each other, the law of one, right? We are all part of a divine energy and entity and nature. And so really, when we become our own bae, when we become our own love source, instead of looking outside of ourselves, do you think we're coming into a greater understanding and connection to our own divinity in connection to Creator?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's like the pit something that has a seed in the middle. Let's take
Yeah.
avocado, for example.
Yeah.
Your spirit is the pit, and the cover and the inside is the inside of us. So the inside of the avocado, and the outside of the avocado is the skin. Your job is to get to the pit, because that's who the I am is. That is who you really are.
Mm-hmm.
And all of the stuff in the green part and all the stuff on the outside part, that's just the covering.
Mm-hmm.
The job is to uncover the pit, and the pit is your spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get there, now, when you get there and sincerely are there, you're then going to transfer that energy, and it's almost like it flips. It's like the pit becomes the skin and everything else on the inside. And that is your job in life. And then you start to attract that which you are. So you want your soulmate? That's the key. You want to start that business? That's the key. You want to write that book? That's the key. Because you start to learn how to work with your spirit in such a way, because your spirit wants you to succeed. That is the job of your spirit, is to succeed you.
Yes.
And you want to succeed, and you want to. I was a procrastinator. I was lagging. I just thought things were just going to fall in my lap. You know what I mean? I just thought I had it like that, you know? But when you start to love yourself, you start to understand that it's the process that you love.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the end result. We have goals to achieve new goals. So when I went and got my doctoral degree, or my doctorate, right, I had the end in sight of being hooded, but I absolutely had to learn to enjoy the process of going through it. That is the journey part, not the end. Because now I have it. Now I was like, okay, what's next? And that's when I went, wrote this book. You know what I'm saying? It was like, okay, what's next? Do something that we always have the next. But until you stop and learn that love is what teaches you the process, and that you learn how to uncover those things that you need to improve upon in yourself to become the authentic version of yourself, you start to slow down and start to enjoy the process. Because time is only an element here. Time is no element in the spirit realm. There's no time there. Time is a construct that we have created as humans. There's no such thing as time. So when you say, I don't have enough time. Oh, I'm too old. No, that's not true. That's absolutely not true. Okay. Time is what you make it. And time is understanding that I can do anything as long as I'm breathing.
Yes.
I'm still capable. Remember that. As long as you're breathing, you're still capable.
Exactly. That is wonderful. That is absolutely perfect. I say it sometimes. Okay. We're going to take a few questions, just a few questions. So this one, I was scrolling through and saw this here. Cynthia says she's in a relationship where his demons try so hard to bring out my demons that I had put to rest.
So, Cynthia, you ready for some truth? Let me know when she responds to this. Let me know if you're really ready for the truth on this one. This is a really good one, really deep one. But I gotta definitely I'm gonna help you out, Cynthia. If you're ready for the truth, I need you to be absolutely ready for the truth.
Okay. Let me look over here on YouTube, in the YouTubes, because the YouTubes, they can respond quicker.
Okay.
Cynthia, you still here, love? Because she was saying that just before this broadcast, she had also told him that he's a good man, but maybe not the man for her.
Okay.
So, yep, Cynthia says she's ready.
Okay. Nice to meet you, Cynthia. It's a pleasure to meet you. You says, I'm in a relationship where his demons try so hard to bring out my demons that I had put to rest. First revelation, it's not demons. It is him. It is his past. It is his inability to emotionally mature. It is his inability to connect. It is his inability to live his authentic truth. You said it. He's a good man. So it's not that it's demons, because a demon has to attach itself, or a demon has to take over, and demons cannot take over the human. That's not possible for a demon to absolutely invade a human. That's not how that works. So it's not a demon. It's him. It's the core of who he is that he has not been able to break free from himself. So you're saying that his situations is bringing out the worst of your situations that you have tried to put to rest, but you didn't put them to rest because there's no way he can bring back something that's gone. What you've done is buried them. Now it's time for you to unbury them, uncover them, and you need to deal with you. You can't deal with him, and he can't deal with you. He has to love himself enough to want to be free from his past. I don't know his history, but I promise you, if I did know him and had a conversation with him, it would come down to something he's holding on to in his life. Hurt, pain, disappointment, whatever it is. But I can bring it back to him. And just like I could bring it back to you, something in your life has left a piece of you broken and you haven't mended it. And you dealing with it by covering it up or burying it doesn't make it go away. It just makes it stay within. And you want to bring it up and bring it out. You want to regurgitate those things that do not belong to you. So my encouragement to you is, yeah, I don't know whether y'all compatible or not. Again, I don't know you and I don't know him. And I would never pass judgment on him or you not knowing the details or whatever. But when it comes to relationships, if you're not living in your authentic self and truth, there's no way you can help somebody else. You can't grab somebody else's hand. It's like saying, I'm going to roll around in shit and I'm going to stand up clean. You can't do it. You cannot do it. You have to be clean. He has to be clean. It has to be a situation where you absolutely going through it together. Now, I have seen situations where both parties have been willing to look at themselves and deal with themselves and then come back together and be a powerful couple. So again, I can't judge or say that that's not the man for you or you're not the woman for him because I don't know y'all on that level. But what I will tell you is it's him. It's his past. It's something plaguing this man. It could be the fear of rejection. It could be fear of love. How about that? People are afraid of love. It could be your fears, but there's something in you because no one can make you do anything unless you give them the power to do so. Yeah. That's one of the things I teach in my program, all of my programs. If you want to learn how to empower yourself, take away the power from somebody else to move you from your emotional place. Yeah. I'm married. My wife is the closest thing to me. She could have a situation or something going on. Even she or my children, who I love dearly, cannot move me from my place of peace. When you've gotten to that place in your life, you are one of the most powerful beings walking around. Yeah. Where no one can do. I don't care what she says. I don't care what my kids do and what they say. They can't move me from my. If I moved, it's because I moved. Right. Not them. They didn't move me. Nobody can pull me. I'm not a puppet. Yeah. And you're not a puppet either, Cynthia. Neither is your boyfriend.
Yeah. And so Cynthia said something about she brings out her anger and she wants to purge it. Well, right. I'm glad you recognize that that's your anger there. That's a you thing that you have to deal with. But I'm glad that you recognize that because
absolutely
getting somebody, I know Dr. Dani, you'll probably remember this, talking about, I let that person get me off my square, and you get mad at yourself when they get you off your square. Because you're outside of your own seat of power.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? You're outside that seat of power. And when you're outside that seat of power, everything goes haywire. Then they really do have that ability to pull the puppet strings. So,
well, and also understanding that we give our emotions the meaning. So when I say someone made me upset, that's because the meaning I gave it in that moment is that was supposed to be my response because they did something to bother me.
Oh, that's good.
That's the meaning that I gave it. And Cynthia, you're not the only one. When I tell you I was plagued with anger, that was my only emotion in life, especially growing up. I just only had one emotion. That was anger. And it took me so many years when it could have took me minutes and months. You know what I mean? It really did. For me to recognize where the anger stemmed from. Once I recognized where it stemmed from, I was able to deal with it and then regurgitate it. He can't bring up something that's no longer there. So if you're still getting angry, it's there. Remember what I said? You burying it. You're not regurgitating it. And to deal with anger on that level is to understand, first of all, it's not anger. There's another meaning to it, meaning I'm hurt, I'm disappointed, I'm whatever. And call the emotion that you're feeling and stop using anger because anger is a cover emotion. And it covers over a whole lot of emotions that's not really true. That it makes you think that, oh, I'm just angry. No, you're not angry, you're hurt. That bothered you because you were disappointed in what they said. How about that?
Right.
That's it.
Or triggered her. Okay, we be here all night. Okay. Okay, next question. We're gonna move on. So Sharon asks, so what does it mean if you are not attracting anyone?
Well, there's something wrong with your energy level. So if you're not attracting anyone, well, first of all, this is it. This is the thing. This is actually a really good question. Sharon, if you're not attracting anything, are you expecting that somebody's supposed to approach you? Or is that the indication that I'm getting from you? Because no one's approaching you, so you're feeling like you're not attracting anyone? And are you doing the work on you by loving you the way you want somebody else to love you so that you can attract that energy towards you?
So we'll let her
Mhm.
let her answer. So the question then, just for those of you that may have like missed it or wasn't like it didn't quite click. So it's really like, right, like, are you expecting someone to come to you?
Mhm.
Right? Does that to signify that they're interested? Is that what, or what is your expectation?
There you
Sharon's
go. That's the word.
expectation.
That's the word. Because
Yeah.
our expectations get us in trouble every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So Sharon says, I seem to be able to manifest anything other than a good relationship. LOL.
Sharon, that's awesome that you have the manifestation power. So what that really means is that the part that's missing for you is the relationship with self. If you're able to manifest everything else, it is just self. I love myself. There you go. I'm spiritually bipolar. Well, guess what? So if you do get somebody and manifest somebody in the flesh, you're going to manifest a bipolar person. You don't want that. So, Sharon, my advice to you is to honestly love yourself totally. Those things, and I mean literally, take a pen and a piece of paper and write down those things that you say you don't like and recognize your power in changing anything that it is that you don't like, whether it's characteristic or whether it's physical or whatever. But that's what that marry the four core is all about. How you doing dealing with your health? How you doing with your emotions? How you doing? You know, how do you, because this just takes it takes habits to change old habits. Okay. So once you start to love yourself, you just got to do things a little bit different. And that's what that's about. Walking down the path of accepting and embracing change. Love
Yeah.
yourself. And I mean, it just started something as simple as when you take your next bath or shower, spend time on your body. When you brush your teeth the next time, spend time on each tooth. When you look in the mirror every morning before you go to do anything else, you say, I love me.
Yes.
I absolutely wholeheartedly love myself. And
Yeah.
anything that comes up today that's not the best version of myself, I will acknowledge and deal with. That's it. You are now changing the subliminal mind that's telling your conscious mind that you don't even like yourself or that you like yourself sometimes and that you're spiritually bipolar. The power in the words is so freaking, that's the navigational tool of our life. What we speak is what navigates our life because what we speak is what we subliminally and consciously believe. So watch what you say because you're speaking all of that into the universe. So instead of saying I attract bipolar, the next person I attract will be my soulmate. Say that. Let's switch up that wording. Let's switch up that language and watch the power happen in your life and the magic.
They are literally gonna tell me don't have you on here no more. No, they're gonna be like, why you have your twin on here and you said it was you that you had somebody else? Why you got your twin on here?
That is
Anyway,
hilarious.
the power of life and death is in the tongue.
That's right.
So whatever it is you're speaking over
That's
yourself,
absolutely
good,
true.
bad, or indifferent, it's going to come to pass.
Now, I'm not perfect. My wife just
No.
checked me on it today. She said, Danny, what did you just say? And I had to think about it. And then I was like, and I got quiet. She was like, no, repeat what you just said. I said, oh, here we go. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to be checked. And when you're with a soulmate, when you're with somebody who cares, or even your friends that are on the same wavelength spiritually, they're going to check you. Hey, what did you just say? Nah. Let's rephrase that because you just confused the universe. Universe can't hand you that because it's confusing.
Yep. Very good. Okay, we're gonna take one, maybe two more questions, and then we'll be at the hour. Here we go. Cericia, I'm curious about how you do your name with numerology and God speaking in numbers. So we're gonna take part or one of those. Like, I don't know how you wanna.
Well, your name, it breaks down into numbers. And you do your birth name because that's the name that came with you. So you take your name, your birth name. Some people have been adopted. Some people, whatever. If they don't know it, then you take with what you know. But your number breaks down. Your name breaks down into numbers, and then the numbers are added up together to come up with a single number, and sometimes a double number, meaning 11, 22, or 33. But once you get that, it gives you a path. And there is a number. There is a whole report attached. When I do my reports, they're about anywhere from 30 to 50 pages. And it just breaks down your birthday, breaks down your name and all of that.
Wow. I think I'm gonna have to do that.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to make money off of it because I only charge $25 for a single report and $50 for a couple report.
Dr. Danny and I are gonna talk about that in a little while.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're gonna move on. But so you
Sharon,
add
you're
the
welcome.
numbers
I see that.
together.
Sharon, I appreciate
You
that.
got that?
No problem,
Okay.
Sharon.
All right. So that's how we get that your number out of your name, right? Or
Correct.
is that your life path? And don't
That's correct.
give me the
Your
line.
name is your life path. Yes.
Okay. God speaking in numbers, and y'all know that I love The Matrix. Y'all know that's my favorite movie. Y'all know I be quoting it all the time. But The Matrix is all based on the fact that it's code, right? And so all the computer code, everything you see, all this video and everything is made up of ones and zeros. That's all that it is. So everything that is in this third dimensional realm is governed by numbers.
That's right.
While we're in the matrix, which is the third dimensional realm, that is then got the bubble or the sealer over it of time and space, fourth dimension, then it is all made up of numbers. Your spirit, though, is outside of that. So your spirit, or the spirit, source, creator, God, whatever name you've assigned, Mother, Father, Spirit, created everything within the bubble.
That's right.
And so in order to translate the concepts into what we perceive as reality, it had to be made in numbers. So you will find numbers and patterns and all of this and everything.
Your body's made up of numbers and patterns. Every human being is made up of numbers and patterns, down to the core of our molecules. Everything.
Yes.
There's no way. There's no escaping numbers.
Yes. No, there isn't. So if you didn't like math, I'm sorry. I love math. Right. Everything is numbers. Thanks, Michelle Alexandra. I love your sister, and I'm so happy to meet you. So there's someone that popped in over here. Okay. What does Cynthia asked another question? What does your date of birth signify?
Well, that along with your name gives you the report. So you actually your path number is the your path number is your date of birth. So if you take someone's month, date, and year, that is actually your path number. And your name signaled with it brings you the whole other report. It just brings you stuff like your cosmic debt, what do you owe? Some people don't
like
owe
your
anything.
karma.
Your karma, right? Your passions, your love. What is it that you're supposed to be doing in life? So it's that type of path. But your actual path number comes from your actual date of birth.
Wow.
Sorry, thank you for that question, because it actually helped me check me. Yes. Absolutely.
No problem. Oh, this is a great question. What is the numerology of the word love?
Are you gonna make me think and count right now?
You don't know that off the top of your head.
You know what? There isn't a numerology. Like, I can come down and simplify it to a number. Yes, I can do that. But love is just what it is. I promise you, I'm not going to do it right now since we're running out of time, but I will come back and make sure that you can bring it to your audience and let them know what the actual number is, and then I'll give you the equation of what love is. But love is love. Love is who you are.
Okay, it is.
I'll come back with that number for you. I promise you. I got you.
Oh, he'll be back. Oh, he's gonna be back.
I'm actually writing my notes right now. I'm writing the word love down. Because when I get off, I'm going to go ahead and do it for love. I absolutely know it, but I don't want to spend any, the time, the rest of the time. But I will. I got you.
Yeah. That's yes. If you haven't figured out that we're assembling a super team, pretty soon we just gonna have us a nice little panel here. Y'all gonna come to the Sunday Soul podcast every now and again. We're gonna have us a nice little panel.
Absolutely.
We'll be talking about some things that are very important to the collective. Well, Dr. Dani, I have thoroughly enjoyed this evening, and this has just been enlightening for me, and certainly enlightening for those that are listening. And we even had, thank you very much to Allie Kane Taylor. She is on TikTok, and I follow her over there. She follows me here, and she was kind of simulcasting this over on TikTok.
Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
that is just beautiful. So thank you very much, Allie Kane. I would very much like for you to now I put it in the pinned comments up above, you guys. Dr. Dani's link tree. But if Dr. Dani, you want to tell folks how they can reach you, where they can find you, and to
Absolutely.
get some information about working with you.
Absolutely. So you can reach me on anything on my Linktree link, as well as my biggest platform right now is Facebook. However, I stopped doing my videos on Facebook weekly, and I went on over to Patreon now. So it's also on my Linktree. But I love it. I love it over on Patreon. I give you guys podcasts as well as videos each week speaking about things. If you want to work with me directly, you can hit me in any of those places on the Linktree, and I can speak to you. And I give a 30-minute free consultation on anybody that calls me. So my number's public. My business number is public. So you can give me a holler, and we can see if we can go ahead and get you put on the path of life. What I do is show you. I don't do anything. I am trained to show you that GPS that's on the inside of you that has all the answers for your life. We have to stop looking outside of us for our answers. The pastor, the preacher, Big Mama, and them cannot give you the answers for your life. Your life is resting in the middle of your being. And once you learn how to tap into that, you will be freed from everything around you and outside of you. And that's my job, to teach you how to listen to you.
Yes. Amen to that. Dr. Dani, thank you so very much.
I appreciate you for having me on your platform. You have been nothing but a blessing to my life. I believe in great energies, and our energies connected in such a way that you have fed my life, and you have definitely put me on the right track. So I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. All right, guys. Well, you know what? That's going to wrap up another Sunday Soul podcast. Thank you for spending a little bit of your evening here with me. I so very, very much appreciate it. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing to this channel. Again, that just helps. And leave some comments down below, guys. It's going to assist us as well. Be on the lookout this week. I'm back. I'm free. We're going to have a retirement hold down, showdown party a little bit later on this week, right before the retreat. So please, come and check it out. You're going to be getting a lot of content from me, and I just can't wait to be with you guys as much as humanly possible, and also superhumanly possible. Until then, peace, love, blessings, and joy be unto you today, tomorrow, and for all eternity. I love you guys so much. Namaste, my friends. Bye-bye.